Hidden Gems, episode 45, the Hidden Gems Christmas Special, 2022 edition. Welcome to Hidden Gems, a board game podcast where we review unusual, forgotten, and underappreciated board games. We're your hosts. My name is Chris.
I'm Jason.
I'm Bill.
And I'm Cameron. Thanks for listening to our show.
Woohoo!
It's here.
Wow,
Christmas
we're all here.
time.
It's finally here.
I'm just glad to be on this episode, to be honest. I missed out on the Christmas festivities last year. I
You
was
did.
sad about it.
Oh, I forgot about
So
that.
I'm glad to be back for whatever inevitable Christmas trivia you're going to make me fail.
It's coming.
That's right. It's a special episode. And speaking of special thanks to Travis, my brother, Travis Lockey, for writing that song last year.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. We were
Still
like
good.
using that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
again.
Yep,
Don't need to change it.
It was awesome.
Everybody's feeling festive. Everybody's in a good mood except for
Oh, yeah.
Jason.
Hey, I am very festive right now.
You've turned it on. Everybody's had a
Bill's
good
got
time.
suspenders on,
I
so
do.
Bill has red clip-on suspenders clipped onto gray sweatpants.
just like the real Santa.
Right, exactly. But they are where the wild things are. So
Except for unlike
So
last
good.
year, I actually have the longest beard in the room right now.
You do.
Mm.
Dude, last year, Bill's beard
Very Santa-like.
was getting crazy. Remember that?
Right,
I mean,
I do,
it was moving horizontally off your face.
I was prepping for my pirate. So yes.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, it looked good.
Couple more months and you could have started putting braids in it.
True. It's absolutely true.
But yeah, as Cameron said, holiday episode. We're having a good time, having lots of fun conversations, drinks. Got some presents on the table here.
Yeah, not table
Yeah.
presents,
Not the
actual presents.
actual presents
But
on the table that we're going to have to stare at here for a few minutes in anticipation. We'll talk a little bit more about what those are for later, but having a good time here for sure.
Oh yeah.
So I did something pretty fun here in the interim. Last week, my daughter is a teacher at one of the local schools, and they had their end of the year party at our house. And I know Chris has seen it, but I've had a bar installed at my house. And so I've been
Oh, that's very
practicing
nice.
Christmas drinks for the past month. And so they came over. It so happened that one of the teachers was a bartender in the previous life. So he took over. And
Cool.
Yeah, that was nice. So yeah, then I learned
Bartender
what really...
transitioned into teachers.
Exactly.
seems
Which
like
is,
it might be the other way around.
and what was funny is I
You
ended
were
up...
serving the other teachers, not children.
No, yes, right. Just
Just to
other
clarify.
teachers. Yes, not the teachers. Not the kids, the teachers. And it is funny to see teachers when they let their hair down. I won't go really into it. It's like Vegas. You don't talk about it, but they had a good time. What was also funny was I bought Take It Easy, 2 more boxes of Take It Easy.
Yes.
A
You're up
Hidden
to
Gems
what,
game.
16 now?
Well, I've given 3 of them away. So,
Wow.
So
Okay.
yes, I bought a total of 6 of them.
So you ran a Take It Easy mega game.
I did run again. That required 3 boxes.
That is
Wow.
super cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Played 3 games and told them whoever won the 3rd game will win a copy of Take It Easy to take home with them. And it turned out there was a girl there who was in 8th grade, was totally quiet the whole time, never said a word. And
She was
the
an
one-
8th grade teacher.
No, this was an 8th grade student.
Oh, okay.
That was there with her mother.
Okay.
And she ended up winning it. And then heard afterwards that it was like the best party she ever went to. And,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like she never said a word the whole time. It was awesome.
More praise for Take It Easy.
Right.
You know,
I
we
mean,
love
yeah,
Take It
yeah.
Easy around here.
I mean, Take It Easy scales so well. It's bingo for a room. So
Yeah.
totally. If you're looking to have from 6 to 36, Take It Easy works.
That's awesome.
That is such a cool idea to buy multiple copies of that game and play it with a big group of people.
Yeah.
I think that's just genius. And I'm glad to hear it went really well. I'm kind of tempted to do it myself, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, we all know how much Chris likes bingo, as we learned in the last episode.
That's right. Rise of Augustus, baby.
Yeah. Right now, I think there's a double sale on an Eagle Griffin because I got the game for $9 and I think there's additional 20%
Oh,
off or something.
Yeah. Eagle Griffin's holiday sale is
Is-
crazy.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, they slash prices like nobody else. I mean, if you're looking to get something cheap, you can definitely get it at Eagle Griffin. They don't do it for all their games, but a lot of them, like upwards of 50% sometimes. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well,
It's time.
yeah, I think it's time for
You ready,
the
Jason?
much anticipated
It's time for Chris to embarrass me with
Holiday
trivia I don't know.
trivia.
the answer
Oh
to.
boy.
Is
oh
it
my
holiday trivia or Christmas specifically?
It is Christmas specific trivia.
Okay.
So as we mentioned a few episodes ago in our Halloween episode, we've already talked about our Christmas traditions,
Sure.
what we do with our family. We don't have that to talk about this time. If you're interested, you can check out our last Christmas episode. So I had to think of something new to do.
Yeah. Like, how much do we know about Christmas?
That's right.
Christmas
so last time I
movies.
tested you on how much you know about Halloween, which apparently isn't a lot.
Not very much.
I'm pretty convinced Bill would have slayed you had he been here.
Yeah. At least in some of it.
So I said that I made the Halloween trivia easy. And I guess maybe I made it a little bit too difficult. So I really tried to turn it down.
Yeah, look, only one of us in this room is a doctor, even if you are just a pathologist.
That's right.
You're just adding insult to injury here, and you make it all the more,
No.
all the worse.
I am confident
Please
y'all are
dumb
going
it
to know
down
this.
a little bit for all of us software engineers.
gonna
Like,
say,
I thought Jason was dumb the first time, but now I'm going to make it really
ready.
easy for him.
I was going to say, we software engineers have very narrow skill sets. So.
All right, here we go. Rules. Same as last time. Although this time there are no multiple choice. It's
Ooh.
either you know it or you don't. Okay.
Oh, okay.
If you think you know the answer, you say answer.
Okay.
That is like buzzing in.
Yeah.
I will then give you an opportunity to answer the question. If you get it right, you get a point. If you miss it, you lose a point. Everybody else at the table still has an opportunity to answer the question. Okay?
So nervous.
Feel free to play at home. Tell us on Discord how much better you did than the guys. All right? You ready?
Yep.
Cue the music. Number 1. What did my true love give to me on the 7th day of Christmas?
Answer. 7 swans a swimming.
That is correct.
Ooh, that was pretty quick.
I should have known this.
That was pretty easy.
Yeah.
My family just went to Pennsylvania because that's where I'm from. And we went to Hershey, and at Hershey at Christmas time they do this thing called the Sweet Lights, which is like a 2-mile long road that you drive through, and there's just lights the whole way, like different like
Oh, yeah.
scenes and
Love that
things, and they
stuff.
had all of the 12 days of Christmas set up along one section of it. So should have known that one.
Yeah. Me too.
I have a feeling we're going to be hearing that a lot tonight. All right, number 2. A little bit harder. In How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which Who down in Whoville catches the Grinch stealing their Christmas?
Cindy Lou Who. Oh, answer.
Answer, Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who. Sorry.
I'm going to give that one to Bill.
Wow.
Although, he
Come
buzzed,
on.
although he
Damn.
buzzed in inappropriately.
Thank you. Whoa.
Give you a little grace since you weren't here last time, but Bill, I'm going to need you
All
to
right,
say
all right,
answer.
Okay, I got it.
That's like on
Okay.
Jeopardy when you don't answer in the form of a question.
It's like,
You're out. You get disqualified.
You're right. Actually, I'm going to give that to Jason.
Yes.
Oh, that ain't right.
Jason needs all the help he can get. All right.
Whoa.
Number 3. According to Central and Eastern European folklore, what horned creature is said to scare and punish poorly behaved
Answer.
children on Christmas? Yes,
Krampus.
that is correct.
I was almost there.
The answer is Krampus, who, in researching this trivia, is kind of terrifying and really bizarre.
Yeah.
Just as a side note. Maybe I'll include him in the Halloween trivia next year. All right. Number 4. We'll be quick on this one. In A Christmas Story, what does little orphan Annie tell her secret society members to make sure they drink plenty of? Oh my.
Answer.
Yes.
Ovaltine.
That is correct.
Good job, Bill.
Yes.
Nice.
It's like, yes, I should have gotten that right away.
We're back
Have you
to
had Ovaltine, Bill?
Yes, I've had Ovaltine.
I think
Yes.
it's like a milkshake, right?
It's like chocolate milk kind of thing. Yeah, you put it in your milk and it makes it chocolate milk.
Like a nutritional thing.
That's
I
right.
guess.
That's right.
No, probably not. It's sugar and chocolate.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. All right. Number 5. How do you say Merry Christmas in Hawaiian?
Answer.
Yes.
Malakalubiki maka.
That is correct.
Yes, you Bing Crosby fans should know that.
I thought you would get that one.
Oh, I did. But I was going through the syllables in my head, and I thought I would pronounce it like I pronounce Yushan.
I just knew I was going to figure it out by the time I needed to actually
That's
say it.
right. You got to answer
'Cause
fast.
I sang the song in my head immediately.
All right. At intermission here, Bill has 2, Cameron has 2, Jason has 1. Jason, you're still in the game.
Wow.
Despite getting a charity.
Seriously, stealing
You're
wine.
hanging in there.
I knew it, Bill. I didn't answer because you knew it.
All right, number 6. When Santa laughs and 'twas the night before Christmas, what does his belly shake like?
Answer.
Oh. It's between you two. You're going to rock, paper, scissors it.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Cameron.
A bowl full of jelly.
That is correct. Cameron extending the lead. All right. Think hard on this one. You ready? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Answer.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That is correct. All right. Next question. I love that. I laughed at myself when I wrote that. Okay. How many ghosts appear to Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol?
Answer.
Bill.
4.
That is correct.
Oh, man.
It was
Good
supposed
job.
to be a trick question.
It was a trick question.
Don't forget about
It's
Jacob
technically
Marley.
5, isn't it? Because there's Marley and
The
the
3.
other one.
And the 3.
The 3. Who else?
I thought Marley had a partner.
Yeah,
That was-
Scrooge.
Right, exactly.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right, never mind. Maybe I'm thinking of the Muppets.
Oh, yeah, the two
Muppets,
old
there's
guys.
2 of them.
You're not getting any charity bonus points from me, Jason. All right.
Jason wants there to be a caveat.
In the movie Home Alone, what name does Marv give to his and Harry's robbery team?
Answer.
Yes.
The Wet Bandits.
That is correct.
Oh, yeah. It's in my memory bank
I've
somewhere.
already watched it this season.
Oh, every year, man. Every year my kids and I watch it. We love it.
Man, I know these. I'm just not fast enough.
Cameron, out to
With
the
a
lead here.
Young brain.
All right, here we go. According to Scripture, how many wise men came to worship Jesus following his birth?
Answer.
Yes.
3.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Taking a point away.
Answer
Yes.
4.
That is incorrect.
Dang it.
Is it to me?
Wait,
Only if you want to answer.
wait, read the question again.
I do want to answer.
Read the question again.
According to Scripture, how many wise men came to worship Jesus following his birth?
I think it will answer.
Go ahead.
It's a trick question because it actually doesn't specify. It just
That
says
is correct.
wise men came from the east, and that they offered 3 gifts, which is why people think
I think
there
it's
was
3, but it's not. That is
It
a
also
trick
wasn't
question.
right after his birth. It would have been when he was like 3 or something.
Okay,
right?
Jason.
There's another caveat.
And you don't know if there was 3 because there could have been 3.
I said after. It could have been, but it's not specified.
It could also have been
Jason,
4.
I was the one that knew that it was a trick question, okay? It was my thing that was a trick question.
Oh man, I love doing these. Okay. I feel like this one's going better than the Halloween one. At least we know the answers.
I'm doing better, obviously.
You won last time. You're
Getting
reigning
a little
champ.
cocky over there.
I won the Halloween one?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
With like 1 point. Jason had
yeah,
like minus
1
3.
point.
Yeah, this minus things for the birds. But go ahead.
All right. This is the penultimate question. In the movie Elf, what does Buddy tell the mall Santa he smells like?
Right there.
I like almost remember the
Jason, you
scene
can do
playing
this.
out.
I'll give you a hint.
Answer.
Okay. Do you want my hint?
It's like I want
yes.
a hit now.
Right before he tells him, he says, "You sit on a throne of lies."
That's not helpful. I know that.
Yeah, it is.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
Old cheese.
That's incorrect. Anybody want to answer?
Got enough.
The correct answer is beef and cheese.
Oh, come on. That was close enough.
Wow.
That was close enough.
All right, bonus round time. Here's your chance to catch up, Jason. Catch-up mechanism, starting with the player in last. You're going to begin to name Santa's reindeer. If you miss, you're out. Okay? So just start naming. Jason, name a reindeer.
I need the first one. If I have the first one, I can get them all.
Haha.
Do I have to name them in order?
No, just one.
Oh, Comet.
Okay. Bill,
Donner.
correct. Cameron,
Are we naming just one or
Mhm.
one at a time?
just going around.
Oh, Dasher.
Correct.
Answer.
Correct.
Have we said Comet?
We have.
Cupid?
Correct. Cameron,
Prancer.
correct.
Vixen.
Correct.
Rudolph.
Correct.
Blitzen.
Correct.
Is that all of them?
Nope. Oh, wait.
I think
That is all of them.
That's all of them.
Yes. Got them
Wow.
all.
Yay.
Sweet.
Good job. All right. Final scores. In third place with 2 points, it's Jason.
Surprise, surprise.
Better than last time. In second place with 5 points was Bill.
Hey.
Not bad. But in first place with a commanding victory with 9 points,
Wow.
it's Cameron. Well done. That was
Good
fun.
one. That was fun. Thank you for doing it, Chris.
You're welcome. I thought really hard about those.
Yeah. That was fun.
Took my time. on
Those
that.
are better than the Halloween questions.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So, Chris drafted me to do the cocktail tonight.
Yes, I relinquished my duties.
I can't believe it. So, tonight, we're having something called the Christmas Hug.
Aw.
It's Christmas in a cup.
It's very ding.
Isn't it? Yes. It's 3 ounces of apple cider. This is apple crisp apple cider, so it doesn't have too much acid to it. 1.5 ounces of cranberry juice. And I'm drawing the blank on the name, but 1.5 ounces of the fire hot whiskey.
Oh, Fireball.
Fireball
Oh,
whiskey.
yeah.
College classic.
College classic, exactly. And garnished with cranberries and apples.
You made a very neat design here.
Exactly. I turned them all into Rudolph with a cranberry nose and 2 cinnamon sticks stuck in apples as the garnishes for the antlers. So,
Fantastic.
It's very cute.
Very festive.
mhm.
It is.
Good job, Bill.
Thank you.
Very well done.
All right. So as Chris mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we have some table presents sitting around. But no, we have some actual presents here. And we decided that this year, and I'm glad that this happened in the first year that I'm here, that we would do a Secret Santa.
Yes.
So throughout the episode, we'll space it out a little bit, but throughout the episode, we'll be presenting our Secret Santa gifts to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Just to mix it up a little bit, give some extra content, extra festivities to the episode.
So I'll go ahead and say that Secret Cabal actually does something very similar to this.
Okay.
So I should give them credit for that. But we're trying to be a little bit different in that we're not, hopefully, just getting somebody a game and then opening it unless it's unique or special.
Wait, what?
Right. Really.
Board game adjacent, or not even board game related. It could be something that the person enjoys.
Wait, you don't have the wingspan,
Yeah, exactly.
the wingspan expansion.
What
yet,
we
do
were
you?
talking about
Right.
before. The idea here is not to open Wingspan or something similar. But, if we do, it's okay. Don't feel bad. I may not have been clear. But that's what we're going for. So,
Okay.
all right,
Well,
Bill,
let
kick us off.
Okay.
Who'd Who'd you get?
I drew, drum roll.
Hang on, you're not in front of a mic.
I drew, drum roll, Jason.
Oh,
man.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Should be. But I did. I went off script a little bit and I made something for all 3 of you guys.
Aw,
So I did to fill
Bill.
up. So
Now I feel bad.
You
no, it's
shouldn't have,
okay.
Bill.
I know I shouldn't have this. It's really not much of anything, but look at it. I see it. It's my version of doing the Cameron creativity and
Look at that. 2
Homemade.
Chris from my nemesis. So nice. Oh, wow.
so
That's great.
those are cocktail or wine glass charms. So the magnets on the side of it, you
Yeah.
use to put it on the side of your glass to
Oh,
mark
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I ordered the meeples. These are all meeple charms. There's 10 different colors. They have a rare earth magnet on the back, and then another
Oh, cool.
a magnet on the other side, so that when you have a party or whatever, you just put it on your glass. It's like this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just
show
use
us.
it.
It'll
So
go
like this.
through the
You go like
glass.
this, and then you just mark your glass or your wine glass, so you
Oh
know what's
my
yours
gosh.
for your whole night.
I know
That's
this
awesome.
isn't translating super well to a podcast, but people, this is cool. Yeah, it's like your meeple is stuck to your glass.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The green one's the only good one.
I
is
made
so
sure
neat.
you had a green one on it. So.
Bill,
That's
these
cool.
are awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks,
So
Bill.
I will say the production process was pretty funny because I'm using Gorilla Glue and then putting them all spread out, and I had like 100 out there, and you bump the table and they all go.
Oh,
They all
you
stick
made
together.
these.
Yeah.
So it took a few.
You made these.
I made these. You can't
Oh.
buy these anywhere. So
Oh, nice.
You say you had to buy the meeples.
That'll be our
I bought
next.
the meeples.
That'll be
I
our
bought the
next
magnets.
sales.
That's right. You hear that, Andy? You hear that, Andy? We need to sell these on Etsy.
Empty. There you go. That's right.
That's a great idea.
All
It
right.
is actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was going to talk to you guys about that once I showed them to you. It's like, hey,
I'm gonna put this bag down on the floor so I'm not rustling it in the mic.
Mike.
But I'm excited.
There's, Chris didn't really give us a whole lot of direction, but that scarf
man.
is also handmade. My daughter made that.
Oh
Beautiful.
wow,
I told her green, and that was close to green, blue green.
that is awesome.
Bill, this is a great gift right here.
Thank you, Bill.
And Buffalo Trace.
I'm always
Hard to
cold in
find.
this room.
Yes.
Exactly.
Where'd you get the Buffalo Trace? Did you?
Get it locally. I got
Yeah.
it locally.
Wow.
Buffalo Trace, always welcome. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill.
Nice.
But, yeah, for those
Good gift,
since
Bill.
it is
And
a
now I have,
podcast,
now I
I'll
have
give them
another
whiskey.
way to keep myself warm in this freezing room
That's right.
that Chris plays games
That's
in.
so perfect.
Exactly.
The next time Jason complains, you'll be like, "Where's your scarf?"
Right. Exactly.
I love it. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome.
And speaking of sharing thanks for gifts we recognize as a podcast, we've had a really successful year on
Yep.
Patreon. There's a growing number of folks that are joining us over there. We introduced the Backstage podcast, which has been a tremendous success, and we feel like the folks that are following us there and listening in on those conversations are enjoying it. So guys, thanks for listening to this show in general, but especially those Patreon backers who are donating every month, helping us to pay the bills around here. It's been really cool to connect with more people this year.
Well said, Cameron.
Well said. Yeah, thank you all very much. And in the spirit of giving and Christmas cheer, I did have one more announcement I wanted to make. I haven't shared this with the guys.
Ooh.
But as we've mentioned, we have our 50th episode coming up, and we're encouraging people to go on to the Guild and go into our geek list there and make recommendations for us to review for our 50th episode. The 3 most liked entries on that geek list will be the games that we review. And so as a way to get people to go on there and participate and to spread a little Christmas cheer and giving, I'm actually doing a contest.
Oh, okay.
So I'm finally selling off my second copy of Strasbourg.
Oh my god.
Oh, we only talked about that in like episode 3.
My number one game, my most favorite game of all time, going to be doing a drawing for it. So all you have to do to be included in the drawing is you have to become a member of our guild on BGG, go onto that geek list, and comment or thumb one of those entries. And if you do that, I'll go through all the entries and I'll record your name down, and you are in the running to get a copy of Strasbourg sent to you, free shipping worldwide, anywhere. I'll
Cool.
pay for anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah, want to share the Strasbourg love.
That's very cool.
My prediction of it being released in the Queen Games City Collection is falling flat right now. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's ever going to come back into print.
I'm going to go add a couple thumbs there myself.
Seriously. Same.
You can't win.
All right. Well, I think that covers all the announcements. Let's
That's it.
get into the game reviews.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
That's
Ooh.
awesome.
Yes.
Good
And I'm
job,
gonna keep the
Cameron.
mistakes in there.
Well
Man.
done.
Dang.
What can you not
I was
do?
gonna say, I'm bringing my trombone next time.
It's so annoying.
I started practicing that as I was packing up to go outside. I was like, Casey, do you think I should do this? She's like, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah, breaking out the saxophone around Christmas time has become sort of a tradition in our house. Casey and I got engaged the same year that we met in the month of December.
Did you propose to her via saxophone?
I didn't, but after we got engaged, we were spending a few evenings together right before Christmas, and I just broke my saxophone out and basically played her a bunch of tunes and played along with Kenny G Christmas albums and stuff.
Oh,
And-
boy.
Kenny G.
She's still married?
Oh, my
So-
gosh.
That's funny.
So we tried it.
Pulling out all the stops.
Oh yeah. Well, I had already gotten her at that point. But we tried it last year when my son was about 4 months old, and he just cried hysterically. So no saxophone last year.
Didn't like that, huh?
This year, he thought it was hilarious. So I've been playing a whole lot, and
Oh,
he
that's awesome.
loves it. It's a lot of fun.
That is great, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for enduring my performance.
I loved it.
It was good, man. Yeah, even had a little flair there on the end. I like that.
All right. Now I'll read the flavor text.
Okay, go for it.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Gather your friends and family together around the Christmas tree to collect beautiful ornaments, gifts, and stockings.
Yeah. It's just not nearly as good as your saxophone
Well,
playing.
I was like, we got to do something.
I know,
You know?
dude. Good job. You spiced that one up. All right. Well, if you didn't catch on from Cameron's excellent playing, we are talking about Holly Jolly. Published in 2021 by 21st Century Games. Pretty new game, but at the time of this recording, its BGG ranking is 8,864.
Wow.
Pretty low down. Designers of this game are Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle. This is a pretty well-known contemporary design team. They've designed a lot of games together. Some of you may have heard of Fleet. Fleet the Dice game, Wasteland Express Delivery Service, Peatmots, and Three Sisters.
Okay.
Pretty involved roll and write game.
Yeah. Just don't pitch him.
He'll pitch you back. All right. Heard about this game from Z Garcia on the Dice Tower, who gave it pretty high praise. And to be quite honest, I was struggling to find Christmas games for this because there just aren't many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many years are we going to be able to keep this going?
Yeah, so next year, it's going to be stocking stuffers.
Games.
Awesome.
This is going to be small games because...
Then it'll be like games you may want for Christmas.
Yeah, right. You might want to gift to somebody. Yeah, there's not a lot to... The well is not very deep. All right. Brief rule summary for Holly Jolly. In Holly Jolly, the players are adding tinsel and lights to a Christmas tree in order to acquire ornaments to score points, primarily via set collection. Before I go over the rules of Holly Jolly, we need to discuss the setup. The central display in the game consists of a Christmas tree, which is made up of an array of rectangular cards. The central core of the tree consists of 3 randomly chosen tinsel and lights cards. Around these 3 cards are placed 8 randomly selected ornament cards, so these are the point scoring cards in the game, which are placed in a tree-like configuration around those 3 central tinsel and light cards. At the top of the tree is placed a small pile of star cards, and then underneath the tree, 4 present cards are placed, with stocking cards being placed face down, and the wrapped gift cards being placed face up. A player's turn in Holly Jolly is incredibly easy. Each player on their turn will choose a tinsel or lights card from a face-up display of 3 cards, and then place it on top of one of the 3 piles of previously placed tinsel and light cards. So let me explain in a little bit more detail. So the tinsel and light cards is all the same deck, but it's important to understand that within this deck, some of the cards just have tinsel illustrated on them, and then some of them just have strung lights illustrated on them. And then each one of these cards also has a value. So when you select one of these cards, you take it and you place it on top of one of the 3 piles, that central core that I was talking about before in the tree, covering up a previously placed card. When you do this, you then look at the 3 cards that are showing, the card that you just placed and the 2 that you did not cover, and whichever symbols are matching. So let's say I placed a lights card. I'll sum all the values of the showing lights cards, and that will give me a number, okay, that I will then use to get an ornament. So let me just give you a couple of examples, because I know that might sound a little bit weird. So if I take a 4-value lights card, and let's say there are 2 2-value tinsel cards and a 3-value lights card showing, and I cover one of the 2-value tinsel cards, I have a 4-value light and a 3-value light showing, so that gives me 7. Whereas if I just covered the 3-value, that would give me a 4-value, okay? Mm-hmm. That's how it works. Once you've generated that number, you will then look at all the ornaments, and you will find one that matches that number, if any, and you will choose that card to take. If none of those cards match that number, you'll take a present card from underneath the tree. So as I mentioned, the ornament cards are point scoring cards and typically have some sort of simple set collection element to them. For example, the snowflake ornaments will give you increasingly more points for having more of that type of ornament, while the snowmen will give you 4 points if you have the most snowmen at the end of the game. Otherwise, they're just worth 2 points apiece. Other ornament cards will just give you straight points, like it might just be worth 3 points, for example. Play continues on in this way until either the ornament deck or the gift deck runs out of cards. Once this happens, the players will total up the value of all of their collected ornament and gift cards, and the player with the highest total value wins the game. That's generally how you play Holly Jolly. So, seeing as we're doing a themed episode, I think a good place to start with this one is to just ask you, how well do you feel like this game captures the Christmas theme? I think for a lot of people, if you're reaching for a Christmas game, you're probably playing it at Christmas time, right? A lot of these games don't normally come out at any other time. So how well do you feel like this game evoked that Christmas feeling with either its table presence or its mechanisms or whatever?
I mean, I think definitely art-wise, it scores some points. It's got the typical imagery that we traditionally associate with Christmas, right? Santa and reindeer and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought the Christmas tree shape of things, the gifts at the bottom, you know, I mean, it makes sense, right? It has that like 1930s, 1940s Christmas toy art style to it, which I guess it kind of evokes that feeling a little bit more so than Wingspan.
Yeah, I agree. The whole trading stuff for gifts and stuff like that. The flipping of the cards and the mechanisms, maybe not so much, but yeah, it has the look of a Christmas tree, so it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I agree with you. The mechanisms don't feel Christmassy at all, but on the table, the way that the cards are at least arrayed out, which is part of the setup, it's not even gameplay really, but they did do a good job of laying out the game in such a way where you can recognize it. Oh, it's a Christmas game. It looks kind of cool.
The most expensive card is at the top, is the star.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Presents are under the tree. And
Yep. So, looks Christmassy. Mechanisms maybe not so Christmassy. How did y'all feel about that central mechanism, or how the game played, I guess?
It's basically, can you do math? In my opinion. So you're trying to pick a card, and you are placing that card on those 3 central cards, and you're doing this mental calculation of which combinations of numbers can I create to make a number that matches one of the things on the cards that I want. And usually you can make that happen. Not always, but usually. So it's like, if you can do math, and you can figure out how to add numbers together in different combinations to get a number that you want, then you're basically just taking what you want off the tree.
Right. If you can make the number.
Yeah.
But you're right. Everybody will, and it's reasonable to, but you will run through every single possible combination that you can generate.
Yeah.
Right.
You're basically generating permutations in your head.
Right. Which takes a little bit of time because there's a few ways you can do it, and that's not maybe super fun for your opponents as you run through all that mental calculation, generating all your numbers and then choosing something.
Not sure it's super fun for me.
Right.
To do.
Yeah, I think that mechanism felt like it was targeting a middle-aged school child to me. It's like, this is the great way to teach kids how to do math kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we transitioned into cons already. I mean, I guess this is just where the conversation is going.
It's a short game, right?
Yeah. I guess we have to say the game is devoid of strategy. Right. There is zero strategy in this game. That doesn't always mean it's bad. There are some games that are purely tactical that are quite fun. But in this game, there's literally nothing that you can do from turn to turn to set yourself up for anything. Because you're not guaranteed anything, and the array of cards that you play upon will completely change by the time it comes back around to you. So there's no like setting up for anything. Right?
Yeah.
So it's all tactical, and like I said, in the moment, you're just generating number combinations and then choosing the logical choice. It's not very interesting.
There's not that much long-term stuff. I guess if you said what is the long game angle in this, it's the set collection cards. That's the only long-term thinking that is really involved in this game.
I completely disagree. I think you can put yourself in a position to win. I think you can set. I think you just have to have that skill. You put yourself in a position to win, and you're gonna
sarcasm.
No, but seriously, you have to talk about the set collection piece because that is the only room in this game for any type of strategy, right?
But is it though?
Well, yeah, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
And so the only real question that comes up in that is, do I start going for snowmen, or do I start going for snowflakes, or do I start going for tin soldiers? And the answer to that question is always yes if no one else has done it yet, no if someone else has, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's the answer, right?
Yeah, which brings up a good point, because my biggest issue with that is I found myself basically trying to go, okay, well, are we going to just let Dave, I think we were playing with Dave Yerker, like, are we just going to let Dave run away with the snowflakes?
Yes, we are.
And I didn't know that, so I'm sitting there like, I'm going to try to take some of these so he doesn't just get all of them, and then I'm looking at Chris is over there going, oh, that's fine, I've got 6 toy soldiers.
You keep doing that, Cameron. I'll just keep scoring points for myself.
And you end up in that situation in a game where it's advantageous to no one to be the person that plays defense. And you end up in that situation where it's like, well, I'm not going to do it. You play defense. You spend your turn trying to keep my other opponent from winning.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, I think you make really good points about this idea of hate drafting. And it's not drafting this game, but it's hate choosing, I guess, or taking an ornament card so that one of your opponents can't take it, right? And I think the problem with that in this game, and for that to really work, whether it be in a drafting game or any kind of game, is there has to be wide or large swings in points, right? So in other words, a game like Blood Rage, maybe. Blood Rage is a drafting game where there are certain cards in Blood Rage where you're looking at them and you're like, if I give this card to my opponent, they're going to win this game. So I cannot allow it, right? And so it makes sense in that situation. In this game, it's like, well, I could take that snowflake, and instead of him getting 6 points on his next turn, he just gets 5. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The penalty to him is not enough to the hurt that it causes you, right? Because now you're collecting something you don't need. So you're actually causing yourself to lose.
Right.
The differences are just not great enough.
The only place that I would think that might make a difference is right at the end of the game, because I think you have to score somewhere between 3.5 and 4 points per card on this game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking at the progressions, once you get to the end, they transition to like the 4 or 5 with the snowflakes. So if you can block somebody from getting their very last ones at the very last end of the game, I could see doing that as a strategy.
But you're doing that at your own expense.
Exactly.
Oh, totally.
The point I'm making is, you might deny me that. So that card would have been worth 6 points to me, but the chances of me taking a card that's worth 5 points or 4 points. So you denied me 2 points, but now you took a card that was only worth a point for you.
You pulled your average way down for that one turn.
You just hurt yourself, right? So it just is poorly designed in this game. I have to say, and another thing while we're in this vein is these objectives or this set collection is so lame. Holy cow, is it boring. It's basic set collection. You have the most, you get 4. You have not the most, you get 2. Some cards are just 3 points. It's just not interesting, right? It's very boring.
And the risking to take the stockings. There just really isn't anything in the stockings that is worth taking a risk.
Not to mention that there's coal. We haven't even talked about the coal. There are stockings where you could take a face down card and you just get 0 points.
Which you've lost if that happens.
Right. It's not even
just because I spent my whole turn and I took this card hoping that there were points on the back end. There weren't.
Yeah.
Well,
or if you play with the variant, which makes it even worse, there's the Krampus card, which is minus 2 points.
It's not even if it were like, well, you flip that over and maybe it's coal and you get 0, or you flip that over and maybe it's 15. I could almost see that. They don't do that. I think the most there is like 5 points, maybe. Well, that's basically average for a turn.
Right. So why take the risk?
Right.
Yeah.
It makes it like a punishment.
Yeah. Right.
Because not only is it random, you might not get any points.
Right.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, did anyone have anything nice to say about it? It just looks okay.
Looks like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, it looks like a Christmas tree.
Should we move into final thoughts?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Who wants to go?
I'll start.
Okay.
There is no strategy here, as Chris said. You take the best thing that's available to you. You do a little bit of math. You avoid, like the plague, any sets that are already held by other players, and you hope you don't draw coal. if you have to take a stocking. The end. That's it. 2.
All right.
Short and sweet.
I'll go next. So probably no surprise here. I didn't like this one. I'm going to take a leaf out of Jason's playbook and suggest that control is a big problem in this game. Sometimes you can just get screwed by the game in Holly Jolly. Very often I found myself failing, not because I didn't see what I thought I needed to win, but because despite seeing that, I frequently didn't have the option to do it and would have to resort to lower scoring options. It was disappointing that playing defense against the set collection avenues is so difficult, especially without the support of other players who are basically just happy to let you compete with that person, and rightly so.
Yeah.
I could go on, but I really didn't have anything positive to say about this one. I thought about it. Sorry to be negative on a Christmas episode, but this one is no good in my opinion. It's a 2.
Yeah, I'll make mine quick. Y'all have summed up my thoughts exactly. This game is pretty terrible. I'm really surprised because this one got some pretty high praise from some people that I trust as reviewers, and that's fine if they enjoyed it. I'm not saying they're bad reviewers. I just was surprised because this game offers nothing interesting whatsoever, in my opinion. You could be tempted to say, well, maybe this would be a good game for people that are non-gamers and family members, but I would actually push back against that because I would say if you're wanting to expose people to the kind of games we play and actually get them to get excited about the hobby,
show them something good.
This is not the game to do it.
Yeah.
This would actually, most people would be like, okay, that was a game, and would probably be thinking, okay, well, board games are kind of what I thought they were.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just not exciting,
Confirms
not interesting.
that this is not the hobby.
This is not something I'm interested in. Please don't do that to people. Could pick something better than this. This game is bad. It is bad, and I'm going to stop. Okay, I'm done. I could keep going, but I'm also giving this game a 2. I'm very disappointing.
Wow.
Don't give it a 4,
bring
Bill.
it back, Bill.
This one's a
Let me
6,
see your
man.
sheet.
Looks like this one's going on Bill's shelf.
Let me see your notes.
No. So It's funny, we were talking about before we started this podcast that I try to think about situations that any game that we play, if you're the curator for somebody having a good time, just like Chris said, is there a situation where you could pull this game out and it would work? And my feeling on that, what is going to be around, especially having come from the party with the teachers, is maybe, in the 8 to 12-year-old range, that this game is kind of meant for kids.
Maybe, yeah.
During class at the last week of school.
Right.
When everybody's watching movies.
Right, exactly. That there's a little spatial component. There is a little figuring things out. There's, the addition part of it. But
second grade, probably.
Maybe.
So,
somewhere in there.
So this is just an addition.
So I can see this having that niche. With all that said, this is not a good game, and I would never want to play it again. So I did give it a 3 just because I can imagine teachers could use it for something.
I made Chris play this one more time because I knew I needed one more play just to finalize it. I could just see it in his face. Just like, oh.
I tried to play it cool. I really did. I was trying to be interested. Oh, so bad. Disappointing. All right. Well, where can you find this if you want to play it? So there are no copies at Noble Knight, and there's only one copy on BGG, but the reason for that is this game is actually in between print runs, so it actually just reprinted. You can buy it directly from 25th Century Games, which is hot right now, if you don't know. 25th Century Games is one of the big up-and-coming publishers. They got a lot of exciting releases. They're a good company, but this ain't it. But if you want to try it out, go for it.
Okay, well... Shall we continue giving gifts?
Oh,
celebrating
yes.
Christmas
Who's
cheer?
next?
It's my turn to give out a gift.
Awesome.
Right here. So, for this year, I drew William.
Oh my gosh.
My nemesis.
Oh man.
All right.
Exactly. Really. That's what I'm expecting.
All right, Bill.
Chris does not pass the weight test.
Open it up. I know. It's very light.
Is it Legos?
Inside, I'm nervous. Is it ticking?
Bill, can you open it a little faster, please? Okay.
Oh, wow.
You gotta open it, man.
Well, maybe not open it.
I don't have to open it.
Yeah, look on the back side.
It's an escape room in a box.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Very cool.
All right, so
That's more board game adjacent than anything
it's
else.
board game adjacent.
Jason.
This Finders Seekers does not have an entry on BGG. I checked. Okay. But the reason I got this for Bill is Bill, if you haven't picked up on this from the podcast, loves hosting people. He loves doing things with people and parties and gatherings, as we mentioned with Take It Easy and his Christmas party. And I think that escape room game in a box can be really, really hit and miss. Like, the exit games, in my opinion, are suspect most of the time. Unlock is okay. But Talia got this for me about a year ago, and what's interesting about it is this is a subscription service.
Oh, wow.
So I actually, why I asked for y'all's addresses today, is you have another one coming in the mail, courtesy of me, and if you like it, then you can continue to carry on that subscription service. The more months you sign up for, obviously the boxes are cheaper, but every month they'll send you a new one. And I will say that I feel like this one is probably the best one that I've done. And the reason I say that is I feel like escape room games try too hard to be hard, and then they start to become unfun.
Right.
And this one is just perfect. They're not too hard, but they're also not too easy. They're just kind of right there in the middle. I highly recommend it.
I can't wait.
Fun.
Yeah. The kids are all coming back for Christmas, so we'll have a house full of 6 or maybe 8 at some point, so we'll break it out, man.
And what's cool about these is they give you 10 clues all at the same time.
Okay.
So people can like
work
break
on
up
it
into groups and kind of start working on things at
That's
the same
fun.
time. So everybody's not working on the same thing at the same time. Again, another reason why I think it's a good one.
Yeah, that's neat.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome, man.
That's awesome. Can't
All
wait.
right. But you were always a good man of business, Jacob. Business. Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. Hear me. My time is nearly gone. I will. Don't be hard upon me. Don't be flowery, Jacob, pray. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. a chance and hope of my procuring, Ebenezer. You were always a good friend to me. Thank ye. You will be haunted by 3 spirits. Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob? I think I'd rather not. Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun this path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow night, when the bell tolls 1. Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night, when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more. And look that, for your own sake, you remember what has passed between us.
Well done.
Good job.
Such a good book.
It is.
I would just say
that's my favorite scene.
Yeah, I will just say if you've never read the actual book, it's very good.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the story.
Yeah.
Because it's like everywhere
So many
at Christmas
movies,
time.
versions,
right.
Yeah. If you like to consume it audibly, Patrick Stewart is doing it on TikTok in a series of chapters. He's sitting by the fireplace with the book in his lap. And it's like masterpiece theater.
I love it.
And
Nice.
Patrick Stewart delivered it. But anyway.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm in need to start a new audiobook.
All right. Well, before we get rolling on Ghosts of Christmas, not only do we have 1 cocktail for tonight, we have 2 cocktails tonight, thanks to Cameron.
It is a hidden
So-
Christmas party in here.
Tell us a little bit about it, Cameron. I sense allspice dram. Is that an ingredient here?
So, what I like to call this is I and my nightcap. Is the name of it.
Nice.
This is a cocktail that Casey, my wife, and I developed together, and it consists of
Perfect for this review.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
It consists of 2 ounces of bourbon or whatever kind of whiskey. We've got a whiskey blend in this one. 3/4 ounces of Jägermeister, a half ounce of Amaro Verna, and 1/4 ounce of this Christmas spice syrup, which I made. It's essentially clove and cinnamon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then 4 dashes of Angostura bitter. So kind of a spin on an old fashioned, but with some extra liqueurs in there.
Yep.
Very tasty.
Nice.
It is indeed.
Very good.
Not too strong for you, Bill?
It's zippy.
Got to keep the party alive here.
That's right.
And then it's garnished with cinnamon sticks.
Yeah. It is putting hair on the chest. So.
And that's saying something.
That's right.
You've seen Bill.
They put a Sasquatch to my Sasquatch.
Like I'm one to talk.
All right. Ghosts of Christmas. Published in 2019, so pretty recent,
Yeah,
but also known as Time Palatrix.
indeed.
Designed by Taiki Shinzawa
Uh-huh.
and published by BoardGameTables.com, which is actually known as All Play now, I saw.
Yes,
really?
that
And
is
rebranded.
that is
Right.
hot off the press. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So currently ranked on BGG 3,543. So Ghost of Christmas is a trick-taking game in which players are playing 3 different tricks simultaneously, one for each of the 3 ghosts of Christmas from the famous story A Christmas Carol, which Cameron just read us a portion of. 3 ghosts are the past, the present, and the future. So the deck consists of 4 colored suits, numbered 1 through 12, with the red suit being the trump suit. So every time we do a trick-taking game, I always question whether or not people listening to the podcast fully understand trick-taking games in general. I know most people listening to this podcast probably do, but for the benefit of those who might not, I tend to give a quick overview of trick-taking, generally speaking. So in a trick-taking game such as Ghost of Christmas, players, beginning with the player who is in the lead, play 1 card at a time to the table to form a trick. Players must follow the suit of card that is led, unless they have no cards of that suit, in which case they can play any card they want. The highest card played to the trick of the led suit wins that trick, or if 1 or more trumps have been played, the highest trump card wins the trick. And the winner of each trick becomes the leader of the next trick. And that's pretty much it. So, what is the twist with Ghost of Christmas? So as mentioned, in this game, players are playing 3 different tricks simultaneously: the past, the present, and the future. On a player's turn, when they are playing a card, they can play a card to any of the 3 slots that they have in front of them, regardless of whether or not another player has yet played to that trick. If this is the first card played to a trick, the suit of this card becomes the led suit for that trick, and this is denoted by a dial that's sitting in the center of the table. All other players, when they play to that trick, must follow suit if they're able to.
That time frame. When you say that trick.
to that time frame, the past, the present, or the future.
Right.
Yep. Once all players have played to all 3 tricks, the tricks are then resolved in order: the past, the present, then the future. And this is important because the dials that are in the center of the table that indicated what the lead suit to each trick was no longer matter. This is very important, and this is what confuses most people when they learn this game. So playing to a trick early during the card playing phase allows you to determine what the lead suit is for everyone else who has to play that trick after you. But when the tricks actually resolve, they resolve from left to right. And the winner of the previous trick, again, determines the lead suit of the next trick. So, for example, if Bill wins the first trick, well, let's say the second trick, the present trick. During card play, I played the first card to that trick, and I led with a yellow card. That would mean that everyone else who played to that trick while we're playing cards would have to follow with the yellow suit if they're able. But let's say Bill wins the first trick. He wins the past trick. But Bill played a blue card to the middle trick.
Because he didn't have yellow.
Because he didn't have
he
yellow.
Could not follow.
He was able to play off
Right.
suit.
Right.
That is important, yeah.
If he wins the first trick, when we resolve the second trick, blue is the lead suit because that is the card that Bill played, not yellow, which is the card that I played.
Right.
So that's an important
and the
thing
card
to
that most
understand.
people were required to play if they had it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very important detail. Players will play 4 rounds of 3 cards to complete each hand and play a number of hands equal to the number of players. So really the last thing to talk about is how do we score this thing? So after receiving cards but before the play of the hand begins, players in turn order will bid on how many tricks they think they will win using blue door tokens. Each trick won awards a player a wreath, which they must take and place on a door if they're able. If a player goes over or under their bid, they receive 0 points for the hand.
Mm-hmm.
But if they hit their bid, they receive 2 victory points per trick won. A special red door can also be used optionally to give the player some flexibility, where if you use a red door, say you bid 3 with blue doors and you add the red door, that means you can win either 3 tricks or 4 tricks and still be safe and not lose all your points. However, if you choose to do that, regardless of whether you hit your bid dead on or with the red door, you receive only 1 point per trick.
Mm-hmm.
1. Most points at the end of a number of hands equal to the number of players wins. There is an additional variant which we played pretty extensively with this game called the Tiny Tim variant. So I'll explain just briefly how the scoring works in that variant. In this, players don't bid using the doors. Instead, winning between 1 and 6 tricks awards the player 1 to 6 victory points, respectively. Winning more than 6 tricks awards the player no points. But if a player manages to win 0 tricks, shooting the moon, what we call it, that player will receive 6 victory points.
Right.
So high risk, high reward strategy there.
Yeah.
So to kick us off here, obviously the most unique aspect of this game is the past, present, future, simultaneous trick playing, right?
Yep.
So my question for you guys is this a gimmick or is this something that you felt actually added significantly to the gameplay as you were playing?
My first exposure to this was when you guys bought this at the Origins
Yep.
a gaming convention. And I was kind of looking over your shoulder playing it and fell in love just watching the idea that you're playing temporally three at the same time. So I immediately bought 2 of these games without ever playing it. They sat on my shelf for, 9 months, and we just played the first time.
Oh, you bought 2 of them?
I bought 2 of them. Because I knew I was going to...
He knew he was going to like it.
I just felt I was going to like it.
You can't combine multiple Ghosts of Christmas together.
No, but I
Take it easy. That doesn't work for all games, Bill.
No, I know. But what I was thinking that I have other trick-taking people in my life that might like it as well. So that was my hope, but I still have both of them right now. But anyway, this whole idea of going into the future to throw off suits so that you can go in the past and trump them, to me is just so cool. I mean, that is just...
Yeah, maybe expound on that strategy a little bit, because I feel like that's
it's a little bit trying. So let's say I have only, like, use Jason's example, only 1 blue card in my hand, and Jason did lead yellow in the present.
I
led blue in the present.
It led blue in the present, right? Yes, yeah, exactly. I could play my blue in the future which would be a legal play, and now I don't have any blue. So I could trump his blue in the present or go into the past and play a different suit like a yellow or something like that and still be able to pick up Jason's in the present. Does that make sense? I said that well?
It does, because you can't follow him now because you're out of that color because you played it into other time periods, unsuiting yourself.
Exactly.
So that something that Jason thought he for sure had won is now lost because you can come over top of it and trump it, right?
So it's cool to go into a trick thinking like that, but the flip side of that, knowing that somebody else can be doing that to you at any point in time is crazy. I think it's a beautifully thought out mechanism.
One other thing that really impressed me about this game, too, when we're talking about the strategy of these time periods, I can't help but compare this game to Oh Hell. I've talked a lot about Oh Hell on the podcast. It's a game I grew up playing. It's a standard style trick taker. There's nothing really gimmicky or unique about it. But the thing about Oh Hell that's hard is you have to predict your tricks that you're going to catch on the nose every hand, which is hard to do. It's hard to do in this game.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this game is that in a game like Oh Hell, you look at your starting hand and you're like, okay, these are the 4 cards that I'm going to win with. And if you don't win with one of those, you're probably dead. In this game, because of the way that you can screw around with the timeline, you may have had a card that you thought you were going to have a winner with, but it didn't work out for you. But you can win tricks in this game with a 3, right? If we do what Jason and Bill were just talking about, where you unsuit yourself, play into a slot, and then win the trick before it, and now, surprise, the color that you thought was going to be the lead trick is actually blue instead of yellow, and I won the trick with a low blue
because
card.
you played an off suit.
Right. I may have not been planning to do that, but in an emergency, you can finagle your hand in a way to where you can still save yourself, right? Which I think is really cool about this game.
It is, but you might also accidentally win 3.
Catch too many. Which is also cool. Yeah.
I mean, for me, you guys know where I like to go with this. I mean, for a game that was not originally this theme, the Christmas Carol theme, man, they nailed it. With this one. Cool. I mean, it's one thing to have like, okay, you made nice artwork and it sort of is a theme plopped on top of this game. That's fine and that's good in its own right. But when I play a game that is tightly themed with the core mechanism of the game, I feel differently about games like that, right? I feel like I'm having more of an experience. You have those 3 tricks, they're past, present, and future. And then on top of that, the artwork for all of those different components in the game, the door wreaths and the doors and stuff like that. And the card art is, I think there's a different...
card art is great.
There's a different image from a character out of the Christmas Carol story illustrated on each of the different numbered cards. And it's just awesome. It's just extremely well done.
Glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, the artist who does the work, it's whimsical and fun to look at, and it is very good.
I'm glad, Bill, you mentioned, too, about catching too many tricks. Because, as mentioned in this game, if you bid 4 without the red door and you hit 4 on the money, that's double points. You want to do that, right? And this game will present you sometimes with interesting situations where you see everybody has played to one of the slots, and you could actually win that slot. But maybe you weren't planning on, and then you start to play this game with yourself, well, I need more tricks. I could catch this trick. I wasn't planning on catching this trick. But if I do this, am I going to end up catching too many? And that is a tension that is ever present in this game. I felt it every time I played it. The concern of getting too many.
Yeah.
Right. But then you're also worried about not getting enough. The point I'm making here is the game is tense when you're bidding, right? It is hard to hit that target. And I like that.
Yeah, it's like the shuttle re-entry and re-entering the atmosphere because, I mean, too low and you burn up, too high and you skip off into space. and you just feel that all the way through. And it's totally chaotic, too, because everybody can change the present or the past or the future, and you just don't know how it's going to play out sometimes. It's cool.
So some good thoughts. So is it all figgy pudding? Or is there some coal in there, too?
What do you think, Jason? We've been talking a lot.
Yeah, no, I would echo all y'all's thoughts. I think the shenanigans that are possible in the timeline, like discovering those. When we played this for the first time at Origins, we were all just like mind blown. I think we even talked about it on
everyone
on
bought
an
a
episode.
copy.
Yeah, everybody bought a copy of this at Origins. Bill bought 2. I think we've even talked about this game on the podcast before when we came back from that and just been like, man, this game is awesome. There's just so much room for shenanigans in that timeline that it's just really cool to discover that and experience it.
But it feels fair. I don't want to steal your thunder, but
Yeah.
I would just piggyback off on your thought and saying, sometimes when we say shenanigans, it makes it sound out of control or chaotic. But when somebody does something to you, you're like, that was a good play.
Well played.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you don't get mad about it. You're like,
Right.
that was pretty smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know how I am with chaotic games, so I'd be calling that out if it was a problem.
Is there anything you didn't like, Jason?
So it's interesting. When we played this for the first few times at Origins, we were all just blown away, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
When we came back to it for this episode and we played it more, we tried both of the scoring variants. So when we played at Origins, they recommend the Tiny Tim variant to start out with. You're not bidding, you're just learning the game. But when we played the Tiny Tim variant, we were like, this is really good. We really like this variant, especially the ability that you have to try to shoot the moon and try to go 0 tricks, right? As we were exploring the game more, we started to uncover some, I don't know what to call it, awkwardness, I guess, around both scoring variants, honestly. So I think it would be good for us to kind of talk through some of that, where to start. So I feel like it's difficult to come back in this game. That was one of the things that we noticed.
This would be a good
right?
place to focus on.
So you're scoring points each hand, and you're playing a number of hands equal to the number of players.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Right. And as you're doing that, you're scoring between, at least in the Tiny Tim variant, between 1 and 6 points, or between 0 and 6 points, I guess, right? And it felt as though there wasn't really a great way to come back from an early loss, right? Because no one ever goes down in points. Everyone is only ever going up in points.
Oh, right.
And there's only so much risk that you can take.
And there's only so much time you have.
And only so much time you have.
Right. And a max number you can get.
Right.
Yeah.
This
In a
is
game
a con
like
because it's starting to feel a little thematic.
right. In a game like Teach You, I've been down 600 points and won.
Right.
And came back. But the difference between Teach You and this is Teach You is another certain number of rounds. You're playing to a target score.
Uh-huh.
And in this game, because you're playing a set number of rounds, we had games of this that we played that were a little bit disappointing because we got to the final hand and there was one person that was so far ahead that people were like, well, we could make up the ground, but we're in the last round and I can't catch you in this one round. So this last hand is kind of, why are we even playing it?
It's like if I score the maximum number of points, it's not going to make a difference.
Right. Then you're starting to think crazy things like, now do I bid 5 to try to make up the difference? And it kind of throws the game out of whack, right? Because you don't have a realistic way of gaining ground. Whereas if you were playing to a score and that person missed their bid a few times, you could catch them, right? So it was a little weird.
Isn't that sort of non-typical of trick takers? It almost feels like adding that component of 1 round per player. It's like an imposed cap.
The way to keep the game
right?
short.
Most card games in general are sort of open-ended and have that target score thing going. Whereas most, like, I don't know, I would say more like modern games use these whole, like, let's calibrate the game to end after a certain amount of time. Is your suggestion that, like, maybe it doesn't need the round cap?
But I think Jason is correct. They do it to keep it short because, again, take Teach You as an example. Teach You can go very long.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just because you're playing to a high number of points, but because people can get pulled backwards.
Up and down.
Up and down, up and down, up and down, right? In this game, there is no up and down. It's just 4 rounds and boom, it's over. And that can just result in some unsatisfying experiences where people are like, well, I'm in the 4th round and what am I even doing here? You know what I mean? So, you know.
Right.
What's interesting, too, is that if I remember correctly, there's a mat that serves as the score tracker, right? So you could conceive of there being, if you reach the end, like almost like a race to that number of points. I guess in the traditional rules of scoring, you could have a slower game, right? You could almost imagine there being a different way to play the game where you're just racing to the top number of points or whatever. And it could take not too many more rounds, but a couple more rounds.
You could house rule that.
With the bidding variant. Yeah, you could house rule it, but I was trying not to say house rule it because usually that means negative.
It's a dirty word. What do you think, Bill?
If there's a negative part to it, it is absolutely has to do with the scoring. Because there were a couple games, it's not only the last round, but the last 2 rounds, you can just feel absolutely out of it. And it's just not fun to participate in a game if you feel like you don't have a chance to win anymore. And truly, I'm like you, Cameron. I'm trying to think of 7,000 ways to come up with new rules about it. I think we ended up in a situation where I think you were ahead and we were playing catch up and had to play without the red door because we needed the times too.
And that's what I was saying is that I feel like that trigger almost forces you into making poor strategic decisions. Like it would make you do something that you normally would never do, but it's like the game is holding you hostage, right? It's like you're either going to bid 4 exactly and make it, or you don't even have a chance and you still might lose, right? I don't know. It was a little weird. There's one more quick thing I want to mention too. I know we're probably running a little long, but I can't help myself. Again, coming back to Oh Hell, when you're talking about bidding, I would have really liked it if when you made your bid, it was a simultaneous reveal, how many you were going to attempt to take, because this game invariably falls into the same trap that Oh Hell fell into when I grew up playing with my family and we actually house ruled it. In a lot of games, you just couldn't make it even. So there are 12 cards. Okay, so if Jason bids 4 and Bill bids 4, then they're kind of telling me to bid 4, right? Because that's the safe play, right? Because that's probably what's left, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And if you're in the lead, that gives you just a very comfortable cushion to be like, okay, I'm ahead. If I take 3, that makes the bid even. Well, probably I'll get what we want and I'll continue to maintain my lead. Whereas if we all simultaneously reveal, it creates more tension on your bid, which, again, I like anything that does that. So
I can see that, how that'd help.
Some good thoughts.
Yep.
Probably time to move on to final thoughts.
Indeed.
So, Cameron, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So, I think this is a great game.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I feel like since I first really started playing Trick Takers, doing this podcast, you can actually sort of track my journey with them, starting with Bargain Hunter back in episode 7. Mostly just trying to drive people to actually go listen to that episode. But yeah, I got frustrated with him back then. And since then, I've picked up playing The Crew, Haggis, Jekyll and Hyde, this one. And
Relationship Tightrope.
And I'm just pumped anytime we find another one to try out. I love the genre. And I think Ghost of Christmas is an extremely well executed variant on trick taking. It's unique, it's challenging, it's engaging through and through, and a beautiful looking game to boot. So for me, Ghost of Christmas gets an easy 5. And I agree with the concerns about the length of the game, but it also feels pretty easy to house rule, and I'd love to try playing a game like that. I own this one, and the only reason I don't play it more, and probably the only reason that it isn't a 6 for me, is because I feel like this game also has a pretty steep learning curve, and most of the people in my life, apart from y'all, don't really play Trick Takers, and it would be kind of a complicated thing to get people engaged with long enough to learn how to play.
This would be a terrible game to introduce to new people.
Right.
Do not do that.
Yeah. At least not to non-trick takers.
Right. People that are not used to card games.
I got a few of my friends together a couple months ago to play The Crew, the original one.
Mm-hmm.
And it went pretty well. Like, I think I could probably get those folks to play The Crew more. Mm-hmm. We didn't obviously finish it. And I still think that it would be a little bit of a lift to go from The Crew to Ghosts of Christmas. So I've got it. I'm looking forward to getting some folks to play it. But I do think it's kind of a steep learning curve, and I can't give it a 6 for that reason.
I understand that. Yeah, this game for sure. I will just go ahead and say right off the top, this is varsity level trick taking.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. This is for people who are comfortable with it and enjoy it. It's for that audience for sure. I will say right off the top, I agree with Cameron. I think this game is excellent. I know it sounds like we've been pretty negative on it because we've been talking a lot about the cons, but I think that's because we've probably been being a little bit hard on it because this game is on the cusp of a 6. I mean, to be honest, the first time I played it, I was for sure I was going to give it a 6. I was just sure that I was going to. I'm not. I'm going to give it a 5. It's so close to a 6, and maybe I'll go up with time. The game is so good. The clever card play that happens in those 3 phases is just so great. Just those little niggly things that we've discussed with the bidding and the game in triggers. And for me, the making the bids even, that's, again, I think it's more a personal thing for me, but that's been something that I've always disliked throughout my history of trick takers is when people make the bid even. I hate that because it just releases tension, right? Which is a part of this game. But all of that to say, that's me nitpicking an otherwise fantastic, interesting game that I'm excited to play more and more. So I'm also going to give Ghost of Christmas a 5.
Very cool. Well, I too am super excited about trick-taking games. It was funny at the teacher party. There were some people that wanted to play spades, and I'm thinking, gosh, I've got all these cool games and you want to play spades. But I sat down and played with them for a while, and I had a blast. I mean, I've forgotten how it's just fun to play something simple like that and be with other people that are enthusiastic about playing, and got set up with a couple cross trumps going and with somebody that was good. And I thought about bringing this out, and you're right, Chris. That would have been just not the right place to do it. But I have to say, as much as I like this game, as much as I like all those dynamics about going back and forth, to me, the scoring just messes it up. You're focusing on this trick taking for the scoring. And so if that part's messed up, then the trick taking part's messed up for me anyway. So I think there's a great game in there just ready to come out. And I do think there's something in there that you can house rule it to make it better. But I'm going to end up giving it a 4 with the caveat that it could go to a 3 or a 5 depending on how we're able to create some rules to make it better. Because really, a game is not fun when you play 2 rounds and you're out of it and somebody's going to win it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But it is cool when you're in it and trying to make your bid. But it just gets out of control. And almost every game we play, I think, is for somebody it got out of control.
Sure. Yeah.
Bill, I don't think you could have summed up my thoughts more accurately than you just did. And I'm glad that you feel that way, because I'm with Chris and Cameron in that when we played this at Origins, I was like, this is a 6 game for sure. At minimum, it's a 5.
Yeah.
The more we've played it, kind of feel the same way. I feel like, yeah, sure, you could house rule this, but there's something fundamentally off with the scoring. And that doesn't take away from the brilliance of the card play, right? It's still there. And exploring that and learning that and experiencing that is awesome. But I'm with you. When you said it could go to a 3 or to a 5, I'm with you. I think playing this game more and more and more, I could see this being like, okay, yeah, this tends to just happen every time we play the game, 3. Or it blossoming into more of a 5 and us discovering more strategy and more technique to it. So, yeah, I'm with you, Bill. I'm giving this game a 4 as well. I think there's so much brilliant card play and ideas behind the game, but I hesitate to give it more than a 4 just with some of the questions that we have around the scoring. So definitely worth checking out, 100%, but explore that scoring mechanism, and it might need some house rules.
We can fix this.
I'm so sure we can.
We can fix it. We have the technology.
Can make it better than it was before.
Better. There you go,
Stronger.
Bill. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to come through there. Come on, man.
All right, Steve Austin.
All right, Chris.
It's the $1 million man, right?
So, a lot of positive things to say about Ghosts of Christmas. So, for folks who are interested, where could they find it?
So, again, similarly to Holly Jolly, which is kind of weird, there are no copies on Noble Knight. Only 2 copies on the BGG Marketplace. However, I know that this is available from Board Game Tables, so just buy it from them directly. I mean, it's in stock.
They had 1 million copies at Origins.
Oh gosh, they were everywhere. Yeah, this game is pretty recent too, so you shouldn't have any trouble getting a hold of this one if you want it.
And grab Mountain Goats while you're at it.
Spiel nominee. Spoilers. All right, those are our thoughts on Ghosts of Christmas. But it's gift time, right?
Gift time.
Who's up?
Is that me? I guess that's me.
It is you. I got your
Chris
name written
demanded
down.
to be last. All right. Too many cocktails. Cameron?
Oh,
Oh, yay.
I will say that Chris gave us not a whole lot of lead time for this, so there is another component to this that I do not have yet. We will get it eventually.
throw me under the bus.
Supply train.
I'm really excited about opening gifts this Christmas because my son will actually be able to open presents for the first time.
This is not one for him. But
This is for me. This is for me.
Ooh.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, yes. I
So
know
this
what
is a cocktail smoker kit.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
yeah, so the extra piece that's supposed to be along with it is a butane torch
Okay.
that will go with it. But I figured that because of your love for all things wood,
Yeah.
you would enjoy shaving off pieces of walnut and cedar and all the things that you have in your shed
So many scraps.
and
that
trying
I
it
can
out.
Try.
It looks like it's
this
got
is
some little
really
cups of
neat. So
chips
it's
in
got-
there, too.
yeah,
They
it's
look
got
like
some wood
little
chips.
Keurig coffee cups.
Yeah. give these guys a little whiff.
Golly, I was patting myself on the back for being really creative, and I was like, "Wow, Jason, you just
That's awesome.
That was perfect.
Very cool. Thanks so much, Jason.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll expect some smoked cocktails in
Yeah,
the
we'll
future
have to
on
bust it out at game night
the
sometime.
episodes.
That's right.
It's great, Jason. You were acting like you
Yeah.
were buying a Zool or something.
Wow. Hey,
great.
Chris, you'll have to have a smoky themed board game night so we can
That's
have a
right.
cocktail to go with it.
We'll smoke some
We'll
cocktails.
backdraft.
So when I heard about this idea of Secret Santa, I thought of a gift that I just had to give to Chris. So I was hoping that I was going to get him. I'm glad that I got you, Cameron. But I picked it up anyway because it wasn't that expensive. And it just felt fitting. So here you go, Chris.
What do we got here?
So because you refused to play Tunic, I figured I had to get you something to commemorate your inability to play the games that I recommend.
It's a Tunic plushie.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's fantastic, Jason.
That's
I will
awesome.
sleep with it every night
yeah.
and continue not to play Tunic.
Yeah, it just
torture
felt
you.
fitting. So,
I love it. Now I gotta play it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
It's gonna sit on your shelf over there
Oh, yeah.
and stare at you until you
Sit
play
on
the
Bill's
game.
pillow.
That's
The-
right.
the-
Well, cushy spot.
Tunic Fox on the shelf.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
With a game Christmas tree, you can decorate any day of the year. Shapes, colors, and formations use different ornaments to create your own Christmas tree and try to find the best combinations to have the most beautiful one, but to be the winner, you have to pay attention to the other players as well. Thanks to the various decorating goals, every game is different, and you will never see the same tree twice. And as it has 3 difficulty levels, Christmas tree is a thoughtful and entertaining board game for families and experienced players alike.
Oh, man.
I think we should make all our reviews and talking about this.
That was perfect.
Oh,
We decided to do that 5 minutes
That's a
before
go.
we just
That's
recorded that.
hysterical. That's
I just
awesome.
want to know that 90% of what happens in here is just spontaneous. Crazy.
Yeah, that was perfect.
look, everyone's sick of David Attenborough. Okay?
Oh, no, I know. It's beautiful. Love it. All
Prop-
right.
Props on the phrasing. It's
So
perfect.
good.
Yeah.
Christmas Tree, published in 2017 by Clever Green Board Games. At the time of this recording, its BGG ranking is 3,669. Designer of this game is Naji Balas. He has no other notable designs. All right, brief rule summary for Christmas Tree. Christmas Tree is a card drafting game where the players are drafting diamond-shaped ornament cards to place onto their own personal Christmas tree, trying to meet objectives in order to maximize their points. Players will draft 7 cards in each of 3 rounds, with the end result being a fully constructed 21-card Christmas tree present in front of each player. As mentioned, Christmas Tree is a simple drafting game. Each round, the players will all start with a hand of 8 ornament cards. They will select one card to immediately add to their tree. Then they will pass the remaining hand of ornament cards to their neighbor. Of note, the first card added to a player's tree can go anywhere within the confines of the tree, but after that, all drafted cards must be placed adjacent to at least one previously placed ornament card. The ornament cards have ornaments pictured on them that come in 3 different shapes and in 3 different colors. There are also wrapped candies, which are worth straight victory points, and gingerbread cookies, which will score points at the end of the game depending on the type of cards that you have adjacent to said cookies. That's basically it. Turn is very simple in this game. However, there are many things that you must consider when you are drafting your ornament cards each round. So let's start by talking about objective cards. At the beginning of the game, each player is dealt 5 unique objective cards. For each of the 3 rounds, each player will choose one of their objective cards, which will be scored for that current round. Once selected, the chosen objectives will rotate through each of the players' hands during the draft, and then they will be placed in the center of the table for all to see. It should be noted that although each player chooses a card from their personal objective card pile, all players will be evaluated for each card chosen. So if I choose an objective card to be scored for that round, it's not just me that scores it, it's everybody. Although I'm the only one that has prior information about it before the round starts. In addition to the end of round objective scoring, there is also end of game scoring that occurs for all players as well. Certain ornaments will have a number of small snowflakes printed on them that will earn that player straight victory points. Additionally, the ornament cards will have half light bulbs printed along some of the edges of the card in 3 different colors. Each time a player is able to place 2 half bulbs of the same color adjacent to one another, creating a complete bulb, they will score 2 points at the end of the game. Additionally, unused Linzer cookies will also score the player 1 point each at the end of the game. So I should talk about the cookies. So the Linzer cookies are powerful cards which may be used at any time on a player's turn. They allow a player to rotate a single card in a different orientation, or, even more importantly, they will allow you to swap the position of 2 ornament cards in your tree. As mentioned, players will draft cards for 3 rounds with different public objectives being chosen by each player each round. At the end of the 3rd round, following end of round scoring, end of game scoring occurs, and then the player with the most points will win the game. That is generally how you play Christmas Tree. Oh, Christmas Tree.
I'm really disappointed you didn't do that to the tune of our Christmas tree all the way through. But
long rules explanation. So I think I'm going to take a similar approach to start talking about this one as we did the Holly Jolly, because I guess if there are any similarities between those games, it's that you are dealing with a Christmas tree. In Holly Jolly, it's in the center of the table. Everybody kind of interacts with a singular tree. It's a central player board, basically. Whereas in Christmas Tree, each player is constructing their own individual, unique tree through the drafting of cards. How do you feel like this one did from a thematic standpoint? Did it feel like it captured a Christmas theme? Did you feel like you were making a tree? Production quality? How was that? How did you feel about it?
I will say, for some unexplainable reason, I don't know that I can explain it, this one felt less thematic than Holly Jolly to me. Maybe that was because there's so much stuff to think about as you're placing cards out on your tree that I'm just like mentally in a different space, like trying to figure out, okay, this card's got to go here, and this light's got to match that light. And like,
Right.
But I can't. I have a gingerbread man here, and he needs a circle. And, you know, there's so many things to think about that it just felt more like a puzzle than it did anything thematic. I guess in Holly Jolly, you could make the argument that there's so little to think about that the only thing you can think about is the fact that the board is shaped like a tree. And so that felt more Christmassy, and there were gifts underneath the tree and that thing. So take that for what you will. But.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think I took a different approach to evaluating theme. I think, as I mentioned before, like I do enjoy the feeling of I'm engaging with theme as I'm playing the game. I love that, and I feel like that's when a game scores really highly on theme. But for this one, I do feel like if you tried to say, okay, well, what is the theme of this game if it's not this? I think that it would feel more pasted on than what they did with going with a Christmas tree theme, if that makes sense. It is a puzzle, and there is so much to think about strategically and from a mechanism standpoint that you almost don't care what it is because you're trying to figure out how to win the game.
You're so lost in thought, yeah.
But if you had to try to say, okay, well, then what's it going to be if not Christmas tree decorating, you know, the Christmas tree theme? I don't know what it would be. If that makes sense.
It does. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it captured it pretty well. I mean, I'm kind of team Jason on this a little bit, that For whatever reason, the art wasn't as engaging in a Christmas way as the other one. And it might have been that the mechanics of this game was much more real than Holly Jolly.
Yeah. This is interesting to hear y'all's thoughts. I will go ahead and say that I felt a pretty strong Christmas theme from it. I enjoyed building the tree. I enjoyed the light bulbs and connecting them and making the color lights on your tree and all that. It was interesting. Just this concept of how increased rules, and not even maybe rules, but just things to think about, in some cases can maybe break immersion. Maybe this is an interesting thing to talk about on Backstage one day. I have certainly played games before that are very thinky, and I'll get 2 or 3 or 4 plays in and I'll actually stop and look at the board. And I'm like, oh, I've never even really noticed that before. It's crazy how you can play a game so many times and you never even really see the art. It's like in your subconscious, you know what I mean? And I think maybe that's what y'all are getting at, is we were thinking so hard about scoring that it was hard to just see it as a Christmas tree, right? Which I can get that. I get that. Go ahead and catapult us into what I think we're going towards, though, is talking about the scoring, right? This is the game, right? It's basic drafting, but the scoring is really what makes this game interesting, I think. How did you guys feel about it? Obviously, as mentioned, there's a lot to think about here. As I discussed in the rules, you've got your own objectives you're adding into the pile. But what's even more interesting, I think, is your opponents are throwing in things that you have to think about. You want to capitalize on that. And then even more interesting, I think, is the ever-present in-game scoring, which is not trivial.
Yeah.
Everything you're doing, you're trying to meet those objectives, but you're also trying to accomplish end-game score as well, right? What did you feel about all that?
So in my line of work, what you're told to do and build is all based on a set of requirements. And that's what this game felt like. It's like, here's the list of requirements, and you have to meet all of them, and you can't violate any of them. And some of them are more important, and some of them are more urgent.
And they're going to constantly be changing.
And they're going to constantly shift as time goes on. So in some ways, it felt like my job.
Okay.
Well, remains to be seen if that's a good thing or a bad thing, I suppose.
I'll say that I enjoyed it, and especially with the in-game scoring, when you're first looking at your 5 objective cards, one of the things that you're trying to decide is, which one of these do I think I can do as the game progresses and get ahead of everybody else that they can't necessarily do in that last round? Right? And that's a bit of a trick to be able to do that, even with the second round, because when you're placing your cards, you have to think ahead in this game, 2 rounds ahead, really. For sure. As you're trying to do things. I kind of enjoyed that part of it. It was very interesting to feel like I had my little secret that I'm building over here. Yeah. Nobody else knows. I don't think I got good enough at this game to look at other people to try to figure out maybe they're doing this, and I'm not even sure that you can in this game.
I think that's the next step.
That's what I was going to mention, is that it makes you start looking around. And I'm looking at Chris's board and being like, it looks like he's putting a lot of blue lights together. Maybe I should start putting some blue lights together.
That blue card, right?
Which you always were for some reason.
And the wrinkle to that, though, is if I guess he's doing blue lights, maybe that's just a coincidence. Do I go after that, or do I go after the thing in my hand that is guaranteed points that I know is right? It's an interesting tightrope to walk there.
So the other thing that got me a little bit, and I'm not really saying that this is a good thing or a bad thing, but the progressive rollout across the first 3 turns of each round was interesting. I don't think I had really seen that. As you mentioned with this drafting thing, you're receiving, along with your additional new set of cards, the new objective card, whether it's from the person to your right just chose, or whether it's the one that's made its way around to you. So you're getting your objectives on delay.
Right.
More or less, which is interesting because it didn't have to be done that way. It could have just been, okay, you flip over 3 objective cards from the top of the deck at the beginning of the round, and you just try to meet them each round.
But, or everybody just places their chosen objective into the center.
Yeah. Or it's just, you choose it and it all goes in and it's all visible from the beginning. So that was an interesting dynamic too. And I found myself almost getting distracted whenever the new one would come. I'd be like, oh, how do I meet that one? I'm going to try to do something that satisfies that one at least once this round or something.
Yeah, this game can definitely trap you into those squirrel moments, you know, where you're like, oh, points. Yeah. You know, here's another way to score points. But I will say you can't ignore them either.
Right.
I think that's actually one of the great strengths of this game, is it challenges you to internalize. Again, I just want to reiterate this so people can understand what objectives you chose, what objectives you know you're going to choose in the future, working towards those, what objectives you're seeing your opponents giving you, and then also keeping in mind the in-game objectives.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, and I found that enjoyable, honestly, just juggling that in my head and just saying, okay, well, this objective, I'm just not going to really do much with that. But I know I can do a lot with these, and I'm going to focus on this one because I know it synergizes with something I want to do later in the game, and just navigating that, I found that to be fun.
What's interesting, you say, I'm going to focus on it. This is a card drafting game that when you get cards passed from somebody else, they're doing the same thing. So oftentimes it is really holding all those objectives in your head and remembering them so that you can take advantage of the cards that you're passed.
And figuring out the visual spatial puzzle.
Right.
Which is also another element, right?
Exactly. Because you're saying, okay, this meets that objective. You're right. Put this here so it doesn't block something else that I'm trying to build that I want in the future. But yes, exactly right.
I think we should talk about the cookies too.
Yeah, for sure.
The cookies were such a great add to this game because, as Chris mentioned, a cookie lets you rotate a card, which is boring. Nobody does that. Or it lets you swap cards on the board, which
way more interesting.
Which can be huge, right? Because this now allows you to set up your board for a particular scoring objective, knowing that you can spend a cookie later to swap those cards and move them back into a different arrangement that sets you up for a different scoring objective. I found that to be super interesting strategically, of like, oh, okay, well, I know I have one cookie left, so I can put this card over here for now, and then know that I can move it over here, which will set me up for this last objective that I'm going to score. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, totally agree. Great addition. And it also gives you a bit of a release valve in a good way of being able to deal with a card that maybe wasn't really good. Maybe as your last draft and your two options are kind of meh. You put them into your grid, but then that cookie will allow you to put it somewhere where it's really useful later, right? It was just totally agree, Jason. A really nice touch, I think, to give you just one more thing to think about. Anything you guys didn't like?
I can see this game not being for everybody in every situation, right? And that's most games, but more so than most of the other games we've talked about tonight. Well, maybe not Ghost of Christmas, but at least Holly Jolly. There's a lot going on if you haven't gathered that from our thoughts so far. Like, my wife would hate this game, right?
It can be like intimidating.
Yeah. You just have to keep a lot in your head at the same time and be thinking through a lot of different things. I mean, I guess you don't really. I could play this with my kids and they just pick a random card and they put it on their tree and they score however many points they score, right?
Fun.
And they'd probably have fun.
But yeah.
Right. Yeah, I would destroy them. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking in circles right now, but I guess just know that this is not a light game.
Right.
It's not Dinos or Lisboa.
No
right?
way.
But as far as Christmas themed games go, this is on the heavier end of the spectrum, I would say.
And what's so fascinating about that is the rules are simple.
Yeah.
Right. You draft a card and put it in your tree. That's it. You look at your card, you select the card, you place it. That is it. But it's all the things you have to internalize, like you said, Jason, is what makes it hard, right?
Because ultimately, it's a game about who can optimize better than everybody else.
Yep.
With those simple moves.
Yeah, and that was actually my one con is this game is kind of multiplayer solitaire-ish. Like Bill said, there are those times where you can look at other people's boards and figure out what you think they might be working towards. But I did find in my plays of this, most of us were just looking down.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're so absorbed in what you're doing on your board to try to meet all these objectives. It's hard to pay attention to what other people are doing. And then a lot of times it doesn't really matter a whole lot.
No, there's not many moments where you're going to look at the hand of cards that got passed to you and look at your neighbor to your left and go, what could I take that he really wants?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely there. I found myself doing that sometimes, but you are pretty focused on your own board.
For sure.
It is kind of funny when you start thinking about, okay, who's the demographic for this? Because if I'm playing with you guys and it's Christmas time, I don't think the four of us are going to say, hey, let's play a Christmas game because it's Christmas time. I think we're going to play a game that we really want. Yeah. And then like if I'm with my family, I need to think of something that's probably lighter than this. And it's funny that I could see Holly Jolly because it is so accessible, even though the game sucks.
Don't you dare.
Right. Well, they could just find that easier.
I see what you mean. A lower barrier of entry.
A lower barrier of entry. So from a demographic point of view, it's kind of a weird space that it occupies.
Lay off the eggnog, Bill.
I thought that was an awesome insight. What are you talking about?
That was great.
All right. Well, any other major points move on to final thoughts?
Yeah, let's do it. I think it's me, isn't it?
It is you.
Okay. So right off the top, I don't think I've talked a lot about drafting on this podcast. We don't review many drafting games. We don't play a whole lot of them. Generally speaking, I don't love drafting games. Actually, I have talked about Seven
Are you
Wonders
kidding?
on here.
We talk about Terraforming Mars like every other episode.
Yeah, but Terraforming Mars is not a drafting game.
It's at least so much more than a draft.
It's way more than that. It's a variant, for one, and it's just a small part of the game. This is a pure drafting game. That's all it is, right?
Mhm.
Selecting your cards, a little bit of visual spatial. I tend not to enjoy games like that, but this one I will say I really, really like this one. And I think for me personally, I enjoy keeping all that stuff in my head and trying to figure out, okay, of the 10 different scoring parameters that I'm trying to track right now, which of these 7 cards is the best one for me to take? That is not an easy conclusion to come to.
Mhm.
And for me, I enjoyed that struggle. That's me. Not everybody is going to enjoy that. I agree with Bill. It's not for everybody, but for me, I liked that. I'd say it's probably my second favorite drafting game. Maybe
Okay.
behind Blood Rage. I think Blood Rage is a drafting game. A little bit more maybe. But all that to say, I liked it. I enjoyed the puzzle. I enjoyed the visual spatial. I enjoyed the look. I enjoyed it all. I highly recommend this game. I'm giving this game a 5. I thought it was excellent. I liked it a lot and would gladly play it any time of the year, not just Christmas. So
It might be because Chris won every game.
well, I didn't do terrible at this game. For some reason, it just clicked with me, but I did enjoy it a lot.
Blue light special.
That's right. I had the blue lights working.
That's true. I'll go next just for the heck of it. But I do think every game that we played, it was won by the lights, right? Didn't you keep lights as your last coup de grace? At least
I
2
did.
of them.
I
You
did.
know, at least 2 of them.
Uh-huh.
So it makes me wonder, is that the best or the only strategy? Your gingerbread men that score a bunch,
They
but the lights seem to be big scoring opportunity. So,
Well, they compound, right? Because they're in the game and can be objective. But the thing about the lights is it's hard
yeah. Oh, yeah.
to get that
Get 'em all to line
configuration
up,
to
yeah.
What Chris
to
is
line
saying
up.
is he's just that much more skilled.
I'm not
Exactly.
saying
He's got-
I'm trying to defend the game.
He's got the Queen's Gambit
Go
vision
ahead,
on the
Bill.
ceiling going on
That's
with
right.
with the Christmas lights, and as he's doing it.
I mean, I
moving
can
all over my
agree.
ceiling.
I can agree with Chris. For whatever reason, I was focused a lot on getting the lights to work, and you really do have to focus on it.
Plus, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this game. I don't know if I have a whole lot more to add than what we've talked about. I like the drafting part. I like the fact that the objectives slowly came out. I thought that was kind of a
Mm-hmm.
unique way to present that. And the fact that you had to remember it as it went by. I like the cookies and the fact that you could make a really big score at the end of the game if you were able to plan far enough ahead. So I thought that was, again, a great game design choice. But I'm going to give it a 4. It's not 5 enough for me to put it in the 5 category, but I enjoyed it. I'm
get
not
that.
sure it's going to be in our Christmas tradition at our house, but
All right. Yeah. So for me, I really enjoyed the emerging information that comes out with the scoring objectives in this game. I thought that was really unique, like you said, Bill. I enjoy having to keep all of those different scoring objectives in tension in your brain. I do agree with you, though, Bill, on I wonder what the audience is for this game. Even when you mentioned the publisher is called Clever Green, and their logo is a Christmas tree. So it's like,
This is
How mu-
only design.
how much market is there for Christmas tree themed games that there's an entire company dedicated to it? I guess it's the
I
only
think
game.
it's the designer's company.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like
and that,
self-published.
and that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to my point, I mean,
I mean, what a name for a publishing company too. Clever Green.
it's clever.
it is clever. And green.
So I really enjoyed the game. I think it's an awkward fit. I guess you could play it any time of the year. There's nothing stopping you because I think it's a great game. I was torn between 4 and 5 on this one. I think I'm going to land on 5
Mm.
because I think that
Come
there
on
is
in.
a lot of good game here.
Yeah, buddy.
It does have this weird, I don't know why there's a reluctance to play a Christmas game in a non-Christmas time. So
It's like, why do you not eat turkey any other time of Thanksgiving, right? This
Exactly.
doesn't feel right, right?
yeah. But as far as drafting games go and clever card play, I really enjoyed it. So got to go with my gut. Stick with the 5 on this one.
Word. I support you.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. I also enjoyed Christmas Tree overall. I think the pace of the game and the range of options you have to work with to score points makes it a chill experience with the potential for a lot of replay value. It may not be top of mind much in everyday circumstances, but maybe we'll be trying that out since you guys like it so much. We'll break it out in March or something like that. But for the genre of Christmas-themed games, I think this one shines pretty brightly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Nice.
I would definitely play it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That is awesome. You're favorable all around.
All right. Well, where can we find Christmas tree? Can we find Christmas tree?
We can.
Hallmark stores? No.
Deleted this line somehow.
The front of Kmart?
Oh boy. Well, so I know that off the top of my head, for some reason this got deleted from my notes, but off the top of my head, I do know this just got reprinted. So they just did an updated graphically edition, more second edition reprint of this game that just came out a few months ago.
Is it summer themed?
No, it's this game. It's the game I have.
They didn't reskin it. Okay.
No, it was Christmas Tree before, but it looked kind of crappy, and so they've updated the graphics, and I'm pretty sure that that's widely available pretty much at all distributors. You shouldn't have any trouble getting this game if you want it.
Miniature Market.
Miniature Market has it, yeah. So if Miniature Market has it, you won't have any issues finding it.
Nice. Very cool. Well, those are our thoughts on Christmas Tree. But wait. There's one more gift to give.
There's a big pizza box.
It's my turn to give a gift.
Yay. I wonder whose
box
turn is
with
it?
Twine on it. I love
Chris.
pizza.
Know how much you love pizza.
I do, man. Oh, the pizza box is
I
mine.
made sure to wrap your Christmas present in a pizza box.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. Ooh, boy, it's hefty.
His passed the weight test.
Oh man, I'm excited. Oh boy. What is in here?
Pepperoni.
Are there feathers in there?
It's like in a bag.
In a flannel bag.
Oh wow. Dude, this has got like several Boy, this is hefty. Oh dude, no. Look at this. Board.
Holy crap.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Wow,
Did you
that's
make that?
gorgeous.
I
Dude,
did.
did you make this?
I did.
Dude.
So that is
absolutely
my
Yeah, describe
prototype
it,
Sturdy Bones woodworking chessboard.
Cameron. Oh my gosh.
It is made out of walnut and hard maple. And
wow.
for those of you listening, because you can't see it, it's not just a bunch of squares. It is trimmed in a chamfered layer of hard maple, and it's banded in a walnut layer that has been trimmed so that it looks like it has legs at each corner.
Dude, yeah. It is beautiful.
We'll put a photo of it on
Yeah.
Instagram if you want to.
As you know, I love chess. I grew up playing it. It's one of my favorite games. My kids love to play it.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Is
Yeah.
I know Knox plays and you play
Knox
with him, and I
plays,
was like, I
Kel
don't know if he has
plays.
a nice chessboard or not. I didn't make.
And you didn't make it 10 squares long.
That's all right. That's
It's
right.
16 pawns.
I did my research. I also
we had
did
that
not
discussion
make chess pieces
last episode.
because that took quite a long time by itself. So I figured you have chess pieces.
I
And
love
maybe
it.
if you had a set, you could use.
I totally
those
do,
with
man.
it, so.
It's a beautiful piece of work, man. Really appreciate
cool.
it.
Thank you.
Wow.
Very cool.
It was fun to make. Put a lot of effort into it
Love
because
it.
I have to figure out how to build stuff like that
Yeah.
to that level of quality.
So if other people want to find their own copy of
yeah,
the
you can go to
Sturdy Bones
chessboard.
You can go to
chessboard,
sturdyboneswoodworking.com. You can click on the thing that says send me a message and get in contact. I'll make one for you. However, I have other gifts to give.
Ooh.
oh man,
You get a gift. You get a gift. You get a gift.
man.
Oh, there's more. I think I know what this
Crazy.
is actually, and I'm super excited about this. I'm not
Oh
going
my
to spoil it
goodness.
though.
So
I
Jason,
didn't know
will
everybody was
each-
giving gifts to everybody.
Well,
This is
This
special.
was a special thing.
Yeah. Dude, this is fantastic, man.
So Chris got a different one
Oh,
because
man.
he
I
already
know what
has a
this
copy.
is.
Oh my goodness.
I know what this
It's-
is.
It's this.
It is indeed.
It's
Mixtor. A
Very
homemade
own
So-
Mixtor board.
Jason has been wanting a copy of
That's
Mixtor.
crazy.
And I told you guys I was going to make my own.
Yeah.
So I did not only make my own, I made a bunch of them.
Dude,
Oh,
these
that
are
is
are
awesome.
sweet, dude.
So
Oh, look at these
Bill's
little
is
saucers.
made of that same source of hard maple, and Jason's is in walnut. And
Wow, did you make these pieces?
I did not make the pieces,
Okay, I
so
was gonna say.
I don't have stacking flower pots.
No.
But I figured checkers typically stack,
Oh, yeah.
so I found
This'll
I
work
sourced
perfect.
some online, and the checkers are a
Are
light
stackable.
color and
Uh-huh.
a walnut color.
That is
That's
so cool.
gorgeous.
And Casey and
you
I have been
very
playing
much.
our set and enjoy it, and the pieces work pretty well for the
Yeah.
game.
Mixed
Cool.
store.
I'll have to print out the instructions. This is so cool.
Fantastic game.
This feels so. This
cool.
feels so good.
Thank you, Cameron.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Cameron.
Merry Christmas,
Awesome,
guys.
Cameron.
That is awesome. Man, I'm feeling like my wine charms are a booger now.
No way.
Now when I go back to the shop, I've got to work on real projects that are not Christmas gifts.
I'm telling you, when I went inside with the glasses for the second round of drinks, Talia wrestled that pink meatball glass marker away from me. She was like, I want that.
That's all right. Oh, that's funny.
She loved it.
You got like perfectly sized boxes and everything.
Dude, yeah, those were quite a find to get it to be exactly interior size of 10 inches.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
I can sense a future for you in wooden board game making.
Seriously.
Contract with Gerhardt's.
That would give me an excuse to buy a CNC machine, and you guys know how I like excuses to buy machines. I actually did get a drum sander in response to needing to work on that chessboard.
Oh yeah.
I got myself a drum sander. It was a thing I'd been thinking about for a while, but I found a deal and I took it and I used it to finish your chessboard.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. It's so nice.
I'll have to play a game with you on it sometime. Let you crush me in the first 3 turns. All right,
man, what a way to end it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Christmas cheer abounding.
You're here.
That's right. Well, speaking of Christmas cheer, thank you for joining us on this Christmas special episode of Hidden Gems. If you like what we're doing here, please remember it's a huge help to us if you leave us a rating or review on your podcast platform of choice and follow us on our various social media accounts. Those simple things can make a difference for the show's exposure so more folks can enjoy exploring games with us. Check out the BGG Guild if you want to interact with us or share a game that you think is a hidden gem. And if you're so inclined, please consider supporting the show over at patreon.com/Hidden Gems Podcast or purchasing a Hidden Gems t-shirt on our website at hiddengemsboardgamepodcast.com/store. And until next time, I'm your host Cameron.
This is Chris.
I'm Jason.
This is Bill.
Thanks for listening. This episode of Hidden Gems, number 45, was recorded in Raleigh, North Carolina on December 19, 2022. It's time for another themed episode. Join us again in 3 weeks as we look at 3 games involving the mysterious Moai present on the enigmatic Easter Island. Enigmatic.
Have we had this discussion before?
Yeah.
That's when I couldn't
That's
say
what
it.
I was.
When
That's what I was quoting.
Enigmatic.
Yanchuleff.
Hidden Gems is produced and edited by Chris Alley, Cameron Lockey, and Jason Yanchuleff. Our Board Game Geek Guild is monitored and managed by honorary Hidden Gems team member Ghidorah. Our Discord channel is monitored and managed by honorary Hidden Gems team member Snoozefest. Our show's logo was illustrated by designer and artist Caitlin Nieto. Check out her work on Instagram at It's Caitlin Nieto. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to join the discussion on our many social media accounts. You can find us on Facebook at Hidden Gems Board Game Podcast, Instagram at hiddengems.podcast, and Twitter at Hidden Gems Board. Disagree with one of our reviews? Have something you want to say about one of the games we discussed today? You can also make your voice heard on our Board Game Geek Guild at BoardGameGeek.com, guild number 3874. Once again, thank you for joining us on Hidden Gems, and until next time, fellow gem seekers, enjoy your games and enjoy your search.